oftentimes you all know that I talk about a lot of complicated topics. And then we have comedy. We do the advice, politics, foreign affairs, all of that shit. But you're in for a treat with this one. Because it's not going to be like the other ones. This one is going to be about yours truly. Now, these are all true tales. Should we call this Tales of the Owl? I don't know. But these are true stories. Events might be altered to protect identities, locations, means, and methods, but the tales are mostly true. I might have to sprinkle in disinformation, is what I'm saying in essence, like your governments do. But the gist of it will be true. Well, let's start off this way. What's your drink of choice? Now, if we're talking about Colombia, this is going to be quite controversial. So Colombians, you might want to turn off if you're watching. You might want to shut it off. I'm going to have ample amount of hate for saying this. Aguila Poker Club Colombia. Oh, it's Aguila every day of the week. Lunes, it's Aguila. Mercoles, it's Aguila. Viernes, it's Aguila. Now, somebody is going to say, you're a traitor. Because there's a story behind this. That's why I started off this way. I'm not dissing poker. I'm not dissing poker at all. It is a fine drink if you're in a pinch. But I'm going to take Aguila if I'm not doing bad. Club Colombia. It's better than Aguila Light. Let's just start off there. What the hell is in Aguila Light? While we're on the topic of Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, and American beers, can we talk about Colombian beers right now? You all, I have said this to so many people, and it is true. I don't care what anybody says. Aguila Light tastes like piss. I don't know how they continue to sell that. It's the original Aguila. They tell me, oh, we only have Aguila Light. No, give me a Club Colombia. Poker. Now that's when poker becomes essential. When they only have Aguila Light and not Aguila. And don't you damn traders tell me Aguila Light and Aguila are the same thing, because then I know you don't know Colombia. I heard the news. The president of Colombia was here in DC. And we wanted to tell some stories. And we wanted to start off that way because Cerveza beer is universal. It's not political. You might get into trouble if you say you prefer Aguila over poker in certain areas of Colombia. But if you're in Bogota, it's Aguila. Cartagena, they love poker. Medellin is about 50-50. Santa Ana, Club Colombia. I started off that way because that's universal, you all. And this is another surprise for you all. I do not drink alcohol. Except when I'm in Colombia. It's like I have this rule. No alcohol in America. Sorry, Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch. I'm not a customer. But when I go to Colombia, oh, it's Aguila, it's poker, it's Club Colombia. It's all that shit. You all know this is true. And I want to say it wasn't me that started this, because I get in trouble for this, but it wasn't me that started this. If you walk the streets of Colombia, you'll see something that's very, well, quite Colombian. You'll see an Aguila can or bottle. You'll see a poker can or bottle on the sidewalks in random locations. They won't be out on the street, thrown out on the street like in America. No, they just sit them up upright on their porches, beside their steps. Even on the streets, they won't be flat, laying flat. They'll be standing straight up. And the amount of cans or bottles you see, depending on where it is, where it's located in your area, the amount of cans or bottles you see by a certain locality, you can tell they had a lot of fun. Now, somebody a long time ago accused me of starting this trend, and I did not. So I just wanted to dispel that myth or rumor. Although I have left bottles and cans at different locations throughout the country. It is a tradition to do so. So I follow the traditions, customs of the nation in which I visit. Hands down, some of the best people you'll ever meet on this planet are Colombians. I love the Colombians, and I'm not afraid to say it. They are awesome people, and I mean that. Now that we've gotten the bad out of the way, or the good, however you all want to see it. Some people will say it's a bad thing that I like Colombians and Colombia. Crazy, because Colombia is South America, and it's part of the Americas. But you know, you have cuckoo for cocoa people who only think that America is the only country in the Americas. What? Colombia is part of our continent? I never knew that. Yeah, you have dummies. So for them, they might get upset that I like another country that's not America. But for real people who know that we're in a continent, and that we should try to do commerce with other people on our continent, it makes perfect sense. So it depends on which lens you look at it in. Enough of that though. One thing that stands out about Colombia, besides the people, the many different cultures, styles. We'll have to talk about styles. Let's talk about that now. The styling in Colombia. You all. You're sleeping on it in the West. The designers and styles that Colombians wear on a day-to-day basis would put you, most of you Americans, to shame. You all, let me give you an example. You all wear sweats, leggings, jeggings, pajamas, t-shirts, shirts, trousers. And they wear that too. But I'm telling you, it looks like a runway from time to time in Bogota. Like, for real people who know. And I've traveled to a lot of different places. And I'm always amazed. It looks like a fashion show when you're in the cities. Bogota, I'm telling you, they're stylish. And they do it on a budget because they're not very wealthy or affluent, most Colombians. They just do very good color coordination. And they look nice. They're happy. No, it's really nice. It's marvelous. Okay, I've got somebody saying something ridiculous. And we'll have to address that later. Some of you all know about some of this shit. Some people are saying some shit that I have forgotten. And I'll maybe mention it. Anyway, the styles are great in Colombia. Super. Clothing, fashion. Now, if you love riding bicycles, Seattle is a bicycle city. See, this is how we gotta start thinking, moving, and shaking. Sometimes you get stale in your thought when you're a big, mighty republic. I just want to put that out there. Seattle, we love riding bicycles. Whether it's in Green Lake or Ballard, Lake City, we're bicycle people. Redmond, not so much in Edmonds. You might get hit on your bike in Edmonds. Anyway, we love bicycles. You all, I have never seen so many people in my life riding bicycles until I went to Bogota. Everybody and their mommy is on a bicycle. Or one of those mopeds, or a motorcycle. And they go zooming on the freeway. You're on the back of that shit. Oh yeah, come on now. Real Colombians do real Colombian shit. And while I believe they said I'm an honorary citizen of the country, I've never taken them up on that. But this is what's come to us. When you're on the back of that bike and they're zipping Zip, 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 zoom, zoom, zoom. I know a lot of you all are going to say, and somebody already said it, was I wearing a helmet? I cannot tell any lie. I was not wearing a helmet. Please forgive me. No. See, this is a problem too. They don't really offer helmets. So if you fall, you sort of kind of just, you go and meet whatever it is you're going to meet in the other life. So they should offer helmets. I agree with you. But man, when you're on that bike, I'm telling you, the first time I got on one, it was fun. The second time I felt like I was going to fall off. Third time I was sort of kind of okay. Every time after, it's been just peachy. No, that's a big mode of getting around. That's a quick, cheap way of getting around the country, getting to where you need to go to work, to shop. It's cheaper than taking a taxi. See, this is why I say people who've never been, they don't know shit. It's cheaper than taking an Uber. Yes. Yeah. Go visit. Then you can tell me shit. I'm an honorary citizen. And it's in America. The Americas. We're a continent here. So yeah, the bike is really spectacular. Hold on for dear life the first time. You'll get used to it after that. The food. Look, you all know I'm vegan. But we're not going to tell any lies in this video. I'm not going to bullshit you like these other people do. And I'm not going to mention their names. But you all see them from time to time on this internet. I think they call themselves influencers. And they talk about veganism. Now, does Colombia have a lot of vegan options? Absolutely. And the vegan food is absolutely really tasty and good. I know. I've eaten a lot of it. Shit ton of it. However, and this is a fact, I'm vegan and vegetarian when I go to Colombia. I do have queso, the cheese. Now, is this technically a vegan? Absolutely not. So I'm being honest with you. I don't just drink vegan beers. I'm an Aguila person. Like I said, when I'm here, I don't drink beer. When I'm there, oh, I'm getting drunk. And we're having a good time. We'll get to the salsa, the bachata, the merengue. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. And a lot of you all would do good to expand your horizons. Americans, it's on your continent. They are Americans too. A lot of you all would do good to expand your horizons. Back to the food. Somebody said they do a lot of frijoles, the beans. Of course, it's traditional. But see, this is also not true that you can't get American food. They have fried chicken. They have Burger King. They have McDonald's. They do the pineapple pies. Yeah. See how entrenched this conversation is going to be? You all are saying, wait, this sounds so detailed. You couldn't have Googled this. I know somebody would say that I Googled all this before I started speaking. You're going to tell me if they can tell you all these things I'm telling you. No. It is important that we keep friendships and relationships. And I'll leave it at that. So yeah, you can find all that shit. You can find an English continental breakfast. If you're from the United Kingdom and you miss having toast with jam and egg and a glass of orange juice, some bacon. If you miss your British English continental breakfast, you can definitely find it at any cafeteria in Colombia. They're going to do the English breakfast, the Americano breakfast, traditional Mexican breakfast, Colombian breakfast. All that say you know is about to be what you really need to know. The best meal is breakfast. That say you know. I'm probably not going to do lunch or dinner because I'm going to eat like a fucking pig at breakfast. They got so much shit, you all, at breakfast. You just fill up at breakfast and then you go all day. Somebody said, do they have churros? Of course they have churros. But here's the thing. In Colombia, churros are not as readily available. Ooh. You all didn't think I knew this. Churros are not as readily available in Colombia as they are in other South American countries. Mexico, you can find churros everywhere. Colombia, you have to look very hard to find churros. But they have some good churros. There's some good churros. They do it with the ice cream, you all. They put the churro. Am I saying too much? Yeah, let me tell you all this. They put the churros in the ice cream. And you eat the ice cream with the churros. That's Colombiano. That's how you know you're a Colombian. Okay, let's talk about the financial situation in Colombia. Here's where I have issues. Same shit that I have in America, but a little bit different. In the bigger cities, and you all, this is where I'm going to get a little bit emotional, so forgive me in advance. In the bigger cities like Bogota, Medellin, Cartagena, Cali, there's a lot of poverty, impoverished Colombians. And Colombians who are impoverished aren't necessarily all from Colombia. You have a huge Venezuelan immigrant population who are really struggling in Colombia. They came and tried to immigrate after all of the crisis that was going on in Venezuela with their currency depreciation. They struggled to find employment in Colombia. There's discrimination between Colombians and Venezuelans that is not right. We gotta talk about this. Empathy. Empathy is something that I think is very important, that sometimes is lacking in a lot of South American countries. And not just by the government, by the citizenry too. It is appalling that Colombian mothers are on the sidewalk with little babies and children. Let's talk about England. They have something called council housing for mothers and newborn children to live at a cost-effective rate inside cities. The president of Colombia is the first leftist president, I want to say, in decades. Because real people who know Colombia know they had a civil war. People were disappeared. Universities were attacked by far-right militias and the law enforcement. And sadly and tragically, our government played a role in this in the 80s. And that left a lot of hardship and bad feelings. But the younger population has tried to recover by memorializing and remembering those who were lost. If you ever want to go and learn about war and the toll it takes on the human experience, you go and you visit the Colombian War Museum. I did that, you all. They have a room full of lights. And then there's videos where it shows family members who lost their life to the war. So we have to get our citizens off the streets, our babies off the streets. I saw it, you all see it, you walk by it, you know it. See, people thought that I wasn't going to say all of this. But I'm not just representing myself. I told the people of Colombia, I'm going to represent you. They were inquisitive as to how. Understandably so. But when this goes out, then they'll understand. So the old saying goes, if you know better, you do better. And we know better. Somebody said those are Aboriginal women, the indigenous women of Colombia, who are struggling in this economy and have been struggling for a long time. You know, I once asked a Colombian man, how long has it been this bad? He told me for a long time. A long, long time it's been this bad. Then I went to the parks, you all. I went to the parks. Because sometimes you need to not just take somebody's word of mouth, you need to see it. Tell me why the infrastructure looks dilapidated, crumbling. Somebody said, give me an example. A bench in the park. Why is half of the bench missing? That's your example. Why are the playground toys not even painted? Broken. Don't even get me started on that debt ceiling conversation with this country not wanting to pay its debts. You want to talk about strategic blunders? Listen to me. When you don't invest in your entire continent for I don't know how long, more than a decade for sure. Somebody said it's been like this for a bunch of decades. I can imagine. I'm like, does anybody walk and just do an inspection? Yeah, I had to do inspections. I was outside picking up the trash. You all. I was outside picking up the trash at the park. Oh, I'll get to that in a moment. I was outside picking up the trash at the park. And the other little kids came and saw me, and they started picking up the trash. Yeah. John F. Kennedy Park. Trash everywhere. Yeah, John F. Kennedy Park. Trash everywhere. Oh, sit down. You're going to hear this, whether you like it or not. Because this is not just an indictment of Colombia. This is also an indictment of neighbors not being neighborly. Hey, if your community is immaculate, do you want the next community over from you to be filthy and dirty? Wouldn't you care? So it's not just shame on Colombia, it's shame on America, it's shame on Canada, it's shame on Haiti. Everybody should be helping out everybody in the Americas. I think the Pope said what he wishes for this year is peace in the Americas. Yeah, I want peace and I want reconciliation. He should have said what I wish for this year is peace and reconciliation in the Americas. And then I would have finally cheered a religious leader. Would you look at that? Because how are you going to have peace when we don't want to talk about reconciliation? You all are like, I'm so frustrated, there's never any peace. No, what you should be frustrated about is there's no peace because you refuse to have a conversation about reconciliation. There will never, and you listen to me, and you listen to me good, there will never be any peace without true, meaningful, legitimate reconciliation in the Americas. The Aboriginal women and the indigenous women of Colombia should not be out on the sidewalk with their babies. You all know this. And that's a disgrace, not to Colombia only, but to the entirety of the Americas. Come on, one and all, debate me. Say that I'm a Marxist and I believe in redistribution of wealth. How the fuck do I believe in redistribution of wealth when I said a council house? They might be homeless because they couldn't keep up with the technological advancements of the society. And we're going to talk about that. Some of you all are acting like everybody is homeless because they're a drug addict. You all need to stop purporting to that lie and myth. A large number of society who goes homeless go homeless simply because they cannot keep up with the technological advancements of the current and modern society. This is a fact. That your corporate-run, institutionalist, technological media won't ever admit to. But I don't work for them. Yes, so there needs to be council housing in Colombia, ASAP. The women and the children, they can't remain on the street. Not under a leftist president. If he's a legitimate leftist president. And before you all say that it's still happening, he just recently was elected. So we're going to give him and his vice president, who is the first black Colombian to ever be vice president, we're going to give them a chance. Yeah, I heard what he said. You all know who I'm talking about. The people believe that we'll never build back better, and that's why they're going crazy. You all know who said that recently, right? Well, let's see. Let's wait and see. You know, I believe in giving everybody a fair shake. Because the bullshit they did for the last 50 to 60 to 70 years is not going to be repaired overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. I think that's a European phrase. So for him to say, people believe that we're never going to build back better. I believe we should give everybody a fair shake. Whether that's true or not, the statement that he made, we'll see. Sometimes we need to tell the government the problem. See, and that's why I blame the citizenry sometimes. Are people in Colombia saying that that's a problem? You said some people are. Everybody sees it. So why isn't everybody saying something about it? Why do one or two people have to say something? Look here, if 100 people walk by you and they see you bleeding, and 2 people offer assistance, and the other 98 keep on walking by you, what are you going to think about the majority of people who walked by you while you were bleeding? Sure, you're going to be happy that 2 people stopped to help you. But the other 98 are not blind. They saw it too. And that's where empathy comes in. Because a lot of you fuckers don't have empathy in the society as a citizenry. And that's why these atrocities can continue to happen. Yeah, that's an atrocity to have grown women with their babies on the sidewalk. begging for money and food. Yeah, that's an atrocity. And the conservative governments could not fix it because they were in power. So before you all start saying, oh, the leftists, this and that, first time a leftist president in Colombian history. They had a leftist before the Civil War in their country. And they were removed militarily. You all know the history that know Colombia. This man was democratically elected recently. So let's see what they're going to do. If they don't do shit, throw them out and put somebody new in. No biggie. But they need to be told what to do. You all didn't even know the benches were missing parts in the park. You didn't know trash was outside John F. Kennedy Park. You didn't know that I was outside picking that shit up. Because it's a disgrace to have a park in another country named after one of your presidents looking trashy. Cigarettes, bottles of beer, toilet paper, cardboard, plastic, marijuana joints, and a park named after one of your great presidents in your country. Ought to be ashamed of yourself. The whole lot of you. But some of you have no shame. We understand. Anyway, more on Colombia. I don't like the honking. Look, when I say everyone, I mean everyone honks their horn at everything, non-stop throughout the entire day and night. The light just turns green. Honk. And it's not just one car, it's everybody honking. Which city is it worse in? Oh, wow. Now, this is where I might have to put in the disinformation because certain entities might know how we move and operate, how long we're in a place. So I might have to be disingenuous with this. It's worse. I'm going to be honest. It's worse in Medellin than it is in Bogota, but not by a lot. Now the real ones know whether I told the truth or not. The fake ones, who gives a fuck? Empanadas. Look, it's hard to find a vegan empanada. They have them, but it's difficult to find them. They have some of the best tofu fried rice. If you're into Asian cuisine, you can get your fortune cookies, your dumplings, your fried rice. I would tell you all where to go and where not to go, but I don't want the alphabet boys in my restaurants. And when I go to a place and I like it, I consider it mine, their family. And so I don't want to see people in my favorite shops. Besides the locals who really love the establishment. A lot of new faces, and I'm going to get suspicious. Is this the FBI, the CIA, NSA? So, yeah. But if you desire Asian cuisine, it's there, and it's delicious. The best fried tofu, I'm telling you, is really great. Overall, and this is going to be offensive to some, Colombian food is the best food in South America. I'm not going to lie to you. It's the best. And it's because, not because it's Colombian. Don't get me wrong. That's part of it. The different ingredients. But it's because there's so much variety. Hell, they even have a place, you know how we have Starbucks. They have tostadas. And it's really good coffee. Really good hot chocolate. They do like the rolls and the pastries. It's great. Very cheap. You go in, you sit down, you have conversation. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's really great. It's nice. It's clean. Clean establishment. The baristas are friendly. So always tip. They prefer cash tips. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a really nice establishment. For you all who've been inside, don't you know that they have the stools, the tables, they have usually an outside space with the umbrellas. Oh, it's beautiful. Black and yellow. Yeah, it's a nice place. It's nice. Very nice. And they're all over Colombia. So if you're in like a very small area, you can still find one of it. You're in Bogota and you miss tostados, you can find them in Cartagena, Medellin, Cali, Santa Ana, everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. It might be harder along the coast to find them. I don't know. I'm only speaking from my experience. Along the coast, it might be difficult to find them. You might have your own like little mom and pop places along the coast. It's very beautiful along the coast. Does it rival Highway 1 in California? I've done both. I'm not going to tell you all any lie. California, along the coast, the highway, that's beautiful, Highway 1. And I'm talking about going from Carmel to Santa Ana to Napa Valley to Vallejo, San Monica, Santa Ana, Monticello. Yeah, we did that back in the day. Oh man, I'm telling you all, we got so many stories we can tell you all. But I just don't like telling you all of these stories because, well, it's personal. And some of it is classified. For me, it's classified. I don't think it's classified to the government. Who knows? Anyway, they don't rival each other because they're different. Like if you're along the coast in Colombia, the breeze, the air feels different. In California, it's like a warmer climate. Colombia is a little bit more cold depending on what season you do it in. So if you do it in rain season, you're going to be cold. Oh my goodness. It gets cold in Bogota. You all bring a blanket and a sweatshirt. It will be cold outside in Bogota. You're like, this is a fact. This happened. I'm enjoying 90-degree weather. Oh, I'm sunbathing. I'm going outside, running on my jogs. My ass gets to Bogota. Can somebody tell me why I'm freezing? I'm just like shivering. Somebody said you should be used to it. You've been in cold climates before. Baby, you gotta go. That cold just hits you different. It's not like Seattle. No, Seattle cold, I don't give a fuck. It's cold. Layer up. You can have on a lot of layers in Bogota. Your ass is still going to be cold. It's not a lot of buildings to block that shit. It's like when you're in Iowa, in those cornfields, and it's a cold winter. That's the coldest I've ever been when I was in Iowa. But Bogota is close. But yeah, it gets cold there. The sun will be bright and shining, and it'll be freezing. No snow. No snow. It'll just be cold. And the sun will be shining. The sun, you'll walk in the sun, it'll be hot when you're standing in the sun. But when you step out that sun, it's cold as fuck. What's the art scene like? Oh, the art scene is great. Murals everywhere. And look, I'm not gonna lie. Colombians have more artistic abilities than Americans. Los Angeles. Oh, they would put those Chicanos to be out of business. The little Colombian graffiti artists, they're much better than 10 of the graffiti artists in Los Angeles combined. And I'm not saying that to be an understatement. You have to go and you have to see it. If you're a graffiti artist type of person, which I like art, all types of art, music, dancing, graffiti. Oh man, that stuff is magnificent. It's marvelous. I've long thought that the government should commission graffiti artists to do art on government buildings to incentivize positive engagement in the communities. Yeah, they should do that. I'm not going to tell you which country did it, but you all, I was dying of laughter. A local police department had commissioned graffiti art of different animals depicted as people and police officers. And these police officers were assisting the animals. Now I started laughing. I didn't see any police officers outside of the building, but it was a police station in a country, which I won't mention. They had birds. Somebody said which animals. They had pigs, birds, elephants, all kinds of stuff. And the police are helping these animals. No, Seattle better not put up any commission graffiti art looking like that, because our officers do not help humans, let alone animals. I don't know about this department. I don't live there. I saw it and I laughed because it's not applicable to what I know the police to do in my country. While we're at it, let's talk about the Colombian police. Yeah, there's some racism with them. You see it everywhere you go. A, C, A, B. Colombians. Am I lying? We all know. There are certain ways that people in certain institutions operate this universal. And it seems to be the police in a lot of countries operate dirty. So the citizenry doesn't too much care for them. Here's the thing though. Colombia is trying to do something about it. They've added a lot more female police officers to the Colombian force. They're much nicer. They're much more hospitable. But sometimes they can be rude. Yeah, I had a run-in with a female Colombian police officer. She was rude as fuck. Oh, I wasn't in trouble. She was just rude. And you all know Terminator. Please, if you know who I'm talking about, and the real Colombians know. Because apparently she has issues with a lot of different things in her jurisdiction she polices. No, Terminator. She does her job adequately. I just didn't like her tone that day. And told her so. You all, sometimes you get scared to talk to your public officials, but you pay their salary. As long as you're being respectful and they're being respectful to you, you can have an adult conversation. We had a polite adult conversation about something which I don't care to mention. And I told her I didn't like her tone and her attitude that she was taking with me. She understood that, and we moved on and proceeded. No, for the most part, Colombian police have done an adequate and well job with me. I've had my run-ins, I'm not gonna lie. But I've had my run-ins with criminality in the country too. Do you all know I was robbed at gunpoint? Yeah. Now I could have said this is representative of all Colombians. That they did this to me, how horrible. Yeah, 3 Colombians with guns robbed me of all my money, my possessions. It happens. Suck it up, buttercup. And you move on. You all say that that's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Shit happens. I've been back to Colombia since that happened, a long time ago. I've been back to Colombia so many times I can't even count. People get robbed every day in America. Is that representative of all Americans? No, it's representative of the asshole who robbed you. And that's the way I looked at it. So when people say Colombia is crime-ridden, that's a lie. I'm going to defend the rightful honor of the Colombian people. It is not crime ridden. There are very nice, wonderful, excellent human beings in Colombia. The vast majority of Colombians are wonderful people. And look, you all, I even have the gangs showing me love. I don't know, I might have said this once, but I'll say it again. The leader of the Latin Kings in Colombia. Yeah, I visited his childhood home. Told me, I don't ever invite anybody to this community. But I wanted you to see it. You want to come? I was like, yeah. I didn't have anything else to do for the day. That's why I showed up. And I got to meet his posse, the people he grew up with, his family. We played games, we drank poker. We chatted about the similarities between impoverished people in Colombia and impoverished people in America. We talked business. And then he said something that I'll never forget. He said, the Latin Kings, if you ever need them, we're here. So that's why I don't buy a lot of the bullshit that you all hear about the cartels. First off, you're not in the business. You shouldn't talk about a business that you know no business about. Are there elements of the cartel that are violent? Absolutely. There's elements of the police force that are violent. Do the cartels just go around harming regular old citizens, grandmothers? No. I never went to a grocery store and feared that some idiot was going to walk in with an AR-15 and shoot me. Let me repeat that. I never went to a grocery store anywhere in Colombia and feared some idiot was going to walk in with an AR-15 and shoot me. Doesn't that happen every day in America? Twice a day? Sometimes 3 times a day? In multiple different localities? So before you start talking about crime in other countries, narcotics in other countries, we're the kingpin of narcotics. Nobody does illicit, illegal narcotics like Americans. Oh, everybody else is playing small potatoes when it comes to our drug trafficking. Should I say it? We got Pfizer, we got Eli Lilly, Moderna. Those are drug companies. Colombia, I don't think has any drug companies. Now, I'm not saying or suggesting anything is wrong with drugs. You all say that there's problems with drugs. Anything out of moderation is a bad thing for the system of the human body and other species on this planet. There was somebody that called into a radio show once, and I kid you not, it was a prank. But the radio station kept telling this individual to continue drinking water. Water after water after water after water. Do you know this prank turned deadly and the individual who was drinking all that water died? I believe during the prank. Somebody said that's extreme, and I know that other more toxic drugs like fentanyl are deadlier. Why are you comparing that it's not the same comparison. Is fentanyl the only drug? First off, let's stop it. Let's pause. I'm going to dispel this. Is fentanyl the only drug manufactured on this planet? No. See, they use a drug in Colombia. It's called Tutsi. They make that shit. It's a pink drug. Now, the kingpin, some of the big top bosses, they're in the cartel. But it's a party drug. Young people take it at the parties. Nobody knows what the hell they put in that shit. People just take it. They have a Tutsi problem. Literally, figuratively. Are they blaming America for Tutsi, their issue with their youth being addicted to Tutsi? No. So I don't know why Americans are blaming other nations for their addiction to fentanyl when they could fix it. It's 420, happy 420, light up you all. They could fix it. Stop allowing your young people to buy illicit drugs, marijuana, off the street, laced with fentanyl, and you in Georgia go ahead and you legalize it. You in Alabama, you go ahead and you legalize it. It's no worse than alcohol. All the research has been done. Marijuana is safer than alcohol. More people have died of alcohol poisoning. I've never heard of someone smoking too much marijuana and dying of a marijuana overdose. Yes, she said that a long time ago. Go ask her about it now. Her opinion might have changed. You all are talking about the former president's daughter, Chelsea Clinton, saying something about how detrimental and dangerous marijuana was. That was when we were on that Just Say No kick. You all remember how that went, right? Your president came out. He wasn't just saying no to the Nicaraguans. But see, that's how dirty this. Ooh, don't even get me started. We're talking about Colombia. Let me stay on topic. But when people were saying just say no, that was because there wasn't a lot of research that had been done, completed, peer-reviewed, out for public consumption. But there have always been people pushing for the full legalization of marijuana. Shout out to the real ones. Remember, the Rasta said it's just a plant, man. It's herbal medicine. You all in Western society came along and said it's dangerous. You might see Bigfoot if you smoke a joint. They were smoking hemp and marijuana at the beginning of the founding of this nation. China was smoking opium, given to them by the British. You all remember the Opium Wars? Go back and look up the Opium Wars. Oh boy. China still remembers that shit. I'm not saying that that's what they're doing with the fentanyl. But what I'm saying is this. Unless we're willing to be flexible and nimble and agile to the situation at hand, don't raise a complaint that you can solve easily. It's been legal for how long in California? How long in Colorado? How long in Washington? How long in Oregon? those nitwits are still talking about it's dangerous in the state of Illinois, but it's safe in Chicago. Can you imagine this? You all, this is how crazy this is. It's dangerous in Georgia, but in Atlanta it's safe. It's dangerous in Springfield, but in Chicago it's safe. You know any drug that if you use it in one jurisdiction is dangerous for you, but if you use it in another, just stepping in another jurisdiction is safe for you? You know any medication that works that way? Let me know. That's the American way. And Colombia said, no, we're not going to do it this way anymore. We're going to think about legalizing a lot of different drugs. Yeah, I like that. That's much better. Hopefully they follow through on it. At least starting with marijuana. Colombia's rule on marijuana is weed. You can possess and have it, according to my understanding. This is according to my understanding of the law. And I could be wrong. So I'm open to that possibility. You can have it. You can grow it. But you can't smoke it legally. If you do it, it's technically illegal. And that's when the police come and harass the Colombian youth. Mostly Colombian youth of color. I be watching. Look. Go ahead and legalize it. Everybody above a certain age is smoking it anyway. Let's be honest. And the people who never want to smoke it, good news. Glorious news indeed. They never have to step a foot in the dispensary. I'm sure there's people in Washington who don't smoke marijuana. I'm certain of it. You know what they do? They drive by the dispensary and keep driving. The people who want to partake, they go in the parking lot, they park their car, they get out, and they buy. What a novel concept. Those who want to partake in something, they buy it. Those who don't, they refuse and keep it moving. I'm telling you all. So yeah, it's crazy the marijuana laws in Colombia too. Can you imagine? You can have a mango tree in your yard. You can grow mangoes. But if I see you walking outside on the sidewalk and you're eating your mango, you'll have to go to prison. Ridiculous, ludicrous, idiocracy, and insanity. And it's kept this way a large part because of the American ethos. Keeping their foot on everybody's neck. With the argument of drug trafficking and narcotics. See, if they can scare you with the narrative and present it a certain way, then it sort of kind of pigeonholes you in to what you can do in your own sovereign land. That's why they're coming with the narcotics and the drug trafficking. Because Latin America is about ready to say we're going to legalize marijuana throughout South America. I'm telling you all the truth. They're not going to report this to you. And the American government, because they don't want marijuana to be legal throughout their nation, are using the narrative and argument that it would be drug trafficking. I'm telling you the truth. So yeah, will it prevent South America from legalizing it? No. People have had it with the Americans dictating the terms and conditions of everything. See, this is another reason why people are upset with America, in South America. I'm going to be honest with you all. When you have a narrow group of people dictating the terms and conditions on everything, regardless of sovereignty, people get sick of that. Rightfully so. Oh yeah, they go down there and they tell everybody, you better not do this. You better not do that. We don't do this, so you can't do that. I know. Come on, I live with him. They talk about the law. Oh, I'm going to have to do a separate video on this. I'm like, which laws? Yeah, I'm going to talk about this one. Just a little bit, briefly. I'm like, which law? Which law should I follow? Well, you have to follow American law. Which American law? See, you all let them slide because they think they're slick, but they're not as slick as me. Which American law, I would ask them. British common law? Anglo-American law? Because the Wamish people had laws too on this land. Are we going to follow their laws? Are they not Americans? They were here before any of us. See, now when you start talking this way, they're going to get upset. We already know. But this happens when you dictate terms and conditions to everybody. And people don't want to follow your dictates and terms and conditions. They want to do their own thing. Colombia is its own nation. And if it wants to legalize heroin, cocaine, and marijuana, let them do it. See, they'll get on the news and say they want to drug traffic. I kid you not, this is what they would get on the news and tell these low information, low IQ Americans. And then you'll have people in the committee hearings talking about how Chinese people are poisoning American kids. Yeah. Yeah, they'll get on the television and say that bullshit. Straight to our face. Insult our intelligence. Some of you all are so low IQ that you think that that stuff is making an ounce of sense. For me, it makes me so upset to hear somebody vilify another group of people because they don't want to follow your terms and your conditions on everything. I'm telling you. The weather is crazy in Colombia. It'll be cold and sunny. Rainy season is kind of weird because when it rains, it's generally darker outside during rainy season. It's depressing. People stay in their house and eat a lot of food, drink a lot of tequila and poker. You know, a lot of people don't travel inside of Colombia from different cities to different cities, from different locations to different locations. People will be like, I live in Cartagena, and I've never been to Bogota, or I've never been to Medellin. We have that in the States too. I guess somebody who lives in Nashville hasn't been to some rural areas in Tennessee. But it's not for a lack of adventure or wanting to. Economically, a lot of people can't move about. the citizens in Colombia are struggling. Yeah, people are struggling. The businesses are remaining open, hopeful, and there are a lot of people partaking. When we go, we try to stimulate the economy as best as we can. I go to small businesses. I help out the entrepreneurs, the family businesses. Yeah, because I have a larger context and view of what Colombia is. You know, Colombia is a lot like America. It really is. I consider it to be a second America. If you like to dance and party, you can find it. If you want to learn how to do salsa, go to Cali. It's the salsa capital of the world. Let's talk music. Modern salsa music is okay. But when they put on those classic bangers, and you all know who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. Oh, if I've had 2 or 3 pokers or 3 or 4 aguilas, you have to have about 5 aguilas to really feel it. 2 aguilas not going to do much. Poker, about 8 or 9. You all think I'm kidding. That shit is lightweight. It really is. Poker, I can be drinking 5, 6, 7 of those things. Somebody said, tell him about the shots. Okay, this is a true story. This wasn't in Colombia, but it was in South America. This is a true story. So I'm at a celebration. I'm not going to tell you what type of celebration. And you know it's customary, these type of celebrations, that you buy rounds of shots. So I'm buying rounds of shots. It's like 6 of us in total. I'm buying rounds of shots, rounds of shots, rounds of shots. This motherfucker, whose celebration I was trying to get to celebrate. And you know it's not a real celebration unless the person gets drunk. This motherfucker told me I cannot get drunk. We were on shot number 10. The motherfucker wasn't drunk. So that's the shot story. We have other shot stories too. I'm in a... You all, I'm telling you. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I was drunk. These bitches I'm with take me to a strip club. They're in there dancing a little bit, but they're drunk. I fall asleep, you all. I'm not telling you no lies here. I should write a book about this shit. I fall asleep. The next thing I know, I'm back in a vehicle. They're like, oh, we left. We had to wake you up and pick you up and take you out. I said, and I didn't wake up? Shit. Okay, good job. I said, we're going back to the location, right? They're like, no. We're going elsewhere. I'm like dozing in and out. The next thing I know, you all, I'm at a bar and they're pouring shots down my mouth with a phallic shaped instrument. And people are just everywhere dancing and grinding on me. I said, what the fuck is this? You won't know the location that I'm talking about. You won't know where it is in downtown. Somebody said it, okay. I'm telling you, it is a wonderful, miraculous, and beautiful country. We should get to know the entire continent. I mean that. This whole thing about I'm going to stay in my little silo, my little town, and my little town is the greatest thing on the planet Earth, and you ain't seen nothing but your little town. Well, what the hell are you comparing that to? I'm a city slicker by tradition, trade. But when I go elsewhere, you all, I'm telling you, it's not a better than or worse than thing. It's just a different than thing. See, that's another framework concept that you all have to dispel and do away with. Something has to be better than or worse than. No, something can just be completely different. For better or for worse, but it can be different. Yeah, we got extorted. Oh boy, should I tell about this story? I got extorted. Oh my goodness, man, oh man, I was so hot. Long story short, I'm with a friend. I've known this individual for a long period of time. This individual is tied up in a bind. Doesn't tell me that they're tied up in a bind. So I needed something. The person gets it. But he didn't tell me how much it was going to cost. After I get it, that's when they shared the price. That kind of happens all the time in Colombia. Real people know what I'm talking about. Those tours, they're beautiful, they're miraculous, they're well orchestrated and well done. They never tell you the price up front. After the tour is over, oh, that'll be X, Y, and Z now. I'm like, could you have maybe possibly told me this prior to, and I could have made a determination prior to whether I wanted to pay that amount or not? They don't do it that way. Not everybody. Some people do. Not everybody. Not my people, at least. And so I was hot because it was like a lot. Have you all ever had somebody not tell you how much something costs? And then you find out how much it costs. Like you go to a restaurant. Perfect example. You go to a restaurant. Well, they have the prices on the menu now, but back in the day, they didn't always have the prices on the menu. You would order something, and they would bring it to you. You'd order something else, they bring it to you. Another glass of wine. Oh yeah, please have it on the house. Then you get the bill, and you're like, oh shit, sticker shock. They used to call it sticker shock. Okay, I had sticker shock in Colombia because I had to go somewhere else. And I didn't have much. And I just wanted to have a little bit of fun. The person tells me after the fact how much it costs. I said, what, are you nuts? So I had to negotiate the price. Oh, what time was it? It's midnight. After midnight. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We're on the streets. I was shouting. If there's cameras and footage, you'll see me shouting with several individuals. You all, that was me. I was hot. And you know I don't get hot, but I was hot in Colombia. I said, I am never doing this again. Why didn't you tell me how much it was? Oh, I'm telling you. If it was in a residential neighborhood, the whole block would have heard. But we were in a commercial district, parties, fun times. Yeah, so many war stories, so many stories. If you're in Cali, there's a park. It's full of cat sculptures. Now I'm trying to take a picture in this park with the cats behind me. First ever maybe, an owl and a cat in the same picture. Tell me why this bitch police officer gets in behind me and starts staring all mean mugging me while I'm trying to take a selfie. This is a true story that happened in Colombia, in Cali, at the cat sculpture park. I'm trying to take a selfie and this bitch gets all in behind me, mean mugging me, looking at me all weird. I took the picture. Anyway, I had to shoo her out of the way. I said, can you please move? Oh, I didn't see you there. She said it in Spanish. Oh, I didn't see you there. Disculpe. I said, bitch, yes you did. I didn't say that aloud. I thought it to myself. I said, yes you did, bitch. You just didn't want me to take this selfie. There's funny stories. Me getting lost at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, this is a weird one. I got lost because my phone died. And I knew relatively how to get back to where I was staying. But it was a long trek. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You all know any country, I don't care where you are in any city, the wolves and the vampires come out after 9. I'm out at 3. Now I know how to defend myself, but you all heard the story. I got robbed. So I'm like, oh boy, here I go. If anything happens to me, I'm on my own. Hell no, I do not let the United States government know shit. I'm on my own. Tell me why a taxi cab driver rolls down their window, says, hey, what are you doing here? I say, what do you think I'm doing here? Are you up to no good? I said, always. How's your night going? Hop in. Well, thank you. Gracias. I opened the door and got in. Now I had to describe where I was staying. You all. This person knew exactly where. But they kept stopping every 5 minutes. I'm like, oh my goodness, OMG Batman. I'm not saying this, I'm gracious that they're driving me. At first I said, maybe I've been kidnapped by the cartels. I don't know. People that drive taxi cab drivers are members of the cartel too. So you could be kidnapped by a legitimate taxi cab driver. I didn't know. Every 5 minutes kept stopping. Finally, I started to think, wait a minute, this is suspicious. This person keeps stopping every 5 minutes. What's up? I look at the gas tank, and it's nearly on E. pulled out my wallet, gave some money for the gas. Oh, gracias, gracias, gracias. We go to the gas station.